Jonathan Gill, the Chelsea Fangast, and my fan bite of the PL game versus the Toffees of Everton today at Goodison Park. So 2-0 to Everton, another disturbing loss. 2 goals completely against the run of play, and unlike United, who had swamped us with their energy and pressing and commitment at Old Trafford, Everton played with the intensity of a wet fart and like a team from the Championship. Whereas United had 25 shots, a limp, feeble Everton had 3, and the dynamism of my nan on her Zimmer. Everton were hopeless, relying on Pickford or whoever booting the ball down the pitch to first Calvert-Lewin, and then when he went off Beto, we were comfortably all over them. The famous Goodison atmosphere was nowhere to be seen or heard. The crowd huddled together and said nothing, as if respectfully at a funeral, as we tippy-tapped around them. And tippy-tap we did. Clearly relieved not to be under the cosh like the other night. We mirrored their lack of intensity, just rolled the ball here and there, mostly to Billy Mudryk. Mudders, as some fans are affectionately calling him. I call him for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, Mudryk, I find myself shouting every time he sprints down the wing, beating his fullback with ease, because he's indeed the fastest man in the universe, yet he has the football brain of a whelk. He never looks up when he centres and finds no one, or if by some fluke he does find someone, the man on the end of it fails to hit the target as usual. To be absolutely fair, there was one moment of excellence when he skinned his fullback and Broja running near post almost stabbed him, but this was a rarity. Mudryk is like a thoroughbred racehorse who runs like the wind but needs someone on his back telling him what to do with his undoubted talent. Broja up front was a good decision by Posh. He was a step up from the idiocy of Jackson. He gave the team an out. He actually holds the ball up rather than allowing it to bounce off his shins like the dreadful Nico. To my horror, Nico came on in the second half. Once again took too many touches, maintaining the bizarre Chelsea tradition of strikers who are completely shite. Meanwhile, poor old Reece, who's been playing at about 50% of the world-class fullback we know and love, went off on 26 minutes to just go away somewhere and get better. Naturally, the Poodle took his place on the right, and Cucurella cannot do anything but pass sideways and backwards when out of position, so that was one area of attack out of the window. But surely we were better with the magical midfield back together of Moises, Connor and Enzo? Well, no, I'm not sure what they actually did. Enzo was hooked off early, looking nothing like the £100 million player we bought. Moises wafted about, looking nothing like a £100 million player either. And Connor buzzed about, but didn't have a single shot on goal, which is bollocks, Connor! Moises and Enzo are supposed to boss and thrill for 200 million. At the moment, I'm seeing 2 players whose combined worth would buy a cheese sandwich at Tesco. Sanchez made 2 brilliant saves, didn't appear to have difficulty passing the ball up from the back today, but then got injured, having saved well and then seeing his save rocketed in by Doucouré to put the 1 up. And once Everton scored, they just shut up shop and the crowd went berserk. And you know how difficult we find breaking down blocks, and we failed miserably. And Petrovic, our new goalie's first action was to punch a corner out only for Lewis Dobbin to have the freedom of Goodison, no one closed him down, and drive in firmly. Yes, Dobbin, the first man named after a horse to score in the Premier League. Then the Poodle got injured and Jackson should have scored but didn't, and Sterling came on and ran about, and that was that. Palmer was the only success story. What a classy player he is. Did we miss the dropped silver? Who knows? I'd like to ask a question. Is playing like a pile of shit part of the process? Is failing to score even looking like scoring despite having 70% of the possession part of the process? Is looking at the same players give us subpar performances each week part of the process? Is hoping the manager will change it so we improve and he doesn't improve it part of the process? Is losing to a side as hopeless as Everton were today part of the process? When does the process end? Is this manager good enough to be allowed to be part of the process? Do Clearlake buy their way out of this shambles? What the fuck are Stewart and Winstanley, the stats guys, doing? Should they take any blame, or is it all the manager's fault? All the players! I'll be back on the Chelsea Fancast tomorrow, Monday, with Stanford Chidge and guests to discuss this further fuckwittery at 7:30. Make sure you listen on Mixler, download it from Acast, all good podcast providers. Come on, Ukraine, and thank you. I'm angry!